Boom, 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 ba. I wanna settle down. Boom, boom, ba. I wanna settle down. Boom, ba. Won't you settle down with me? Settle down. Boom, ba. We can settle at a table. Boom, ba. A table for two. Won't you wine and dine with me? Settle down. I wanna raise a child. I wanna raise a child. Won't you raise a child with me? Raise a child. We'll call her Nebraska. Nebraska Jones. She'll have your nose. Just so you know.
WPPJ, Pittsburgh.
Check out sports bikes, classic bikes, unicycles, and even Pee Wee Herman's bike, plus hands-on activities about what makes bicycles go. It's all at Bikes, Science on Two Wheels at Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh. See over 60 bikes of every shape and size. And on Saturdays, there's special programming like BMX shows, unicycle demonstrations, and bike building. Bikes, Science on Two Wheels, presented by Dollar Bank. Visit CarnegieScienceCenter.com for more details.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face-to-face with Smokey Bear.
Wow.
And he told me it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfire.
Check out sports bikes, classic bikes, unicycles, and even Pee Wee Herman's bike, plus hands-on activities about what makes bicycles go. It's all at Bikes, Science on Two Wheels at Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh. See over 60 bikes of every shape and size. And on Saturdays, there's special programming like BMX shows, unicycle demonstrations, and bike building. Bikes, Science on Two Wheels, presented by Dollar Bank. Visit CarnegieScienceCenter.com for more details.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Time for news and weather on 670 AM WPPJ Radio.
This is Zach Durkin with your WPPJ 670 news update. Death counts are rising in Nairobi, Kenya, after a terrorist attack on a mall ended Tuesday. The attackers are believed to all be dead or in custody. The death count currently stands at 72, but is rising as rescuers uncover bodies in the partially collapsed mall. 3 freight trains have collided in Texas, derailing 30 cars and leaving 4 crew members injured. The incident occurred Wednesday morning when an eastbound train rear-ended a stopped train. Allegheny County is seeking to start a new coal mining operation on public parkland. County Executive Rich Fitzgerald wants to mine a 5-foot seam running through South Park that could be worth $3 million. The Friends of South Park gave their blessing as they look for money for renovations to the park. Today's weather, a high of 77 with a low of 50, sunny all day. Tomorrow, a high of 75, partly cloudy. This has been Zach Durkin with your WPPJ 670 News Update.
to second. That's it. The Pittsburgh Pirates are on their way to St. Louis in the National League Division Series. A playoff win in Pittsburgh for the first time since 1992.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sports Buzz. I'm your host, Michael Kravetz, and my co-host.
I'm Harrison Buzzatto, Harry Buzz. How you guys doing? I hope you enjoyed that little sound bite as much as we did.
Yeah, that was just amazing, the call on TBS. They did it. They finally did it.
They did it. They did it. And we are so excited here in Pittsburgh to announce that our Pirates are going to the next round.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So we're gonna get started right off the bat here with this huge win, and we're gonna take you through the key moments of the game, the wild card game against the Cincinnati Reds. Mike, what did it?
I think the number one the reason was Cueto struggling.
Yeah.
The crowd, the atmosphere there, over 40,000 fans. I couldn't believe they packed that many in that stadium. They got to him. And that was the big difference.
They absolutely did. Well, Marlon Byrd starts the scoring off with a smack of a home run to put the Buccos up by 1. And not soon after, I believe it was the third inning that Cueto dropped that ball.
Yep.
Yeah. I made the joke before we began the show that there were 40,000 people in the Pirates dugout. The entire stadium was part of that team.
Oh, it was.
And I've never seen a Major League Baseball pitcher lose it like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Dusty Baker didn't come out and take him out of the game earlier.
Yeah. I mean, he literally dropped the ball.
Yeah, and then the next pitch, you see what happens.
Yeah, and that was Martin, who just cranked one moments after. My roommate went to the game, and he described the atmosphere unforgettable.
I know.
So that made the scoring what? 2-0?
2-0 at that point.
2-0 at that point. And then the top of the fourth, what did Frazier do?
Okay, well, Liriano, he got into some trouble in this inning. It was first and second with nobody out, and he was able to get the next two guys. And then Todd Frazier came up. He's given Liriano some fits this season. He's pretty much the only right-handed hitter aside from Phillips that could actually hit off Liriano this year. And he hit a pitch, and it was literally, I would say, 2 or 3 feet away from being inside the foul pole for making it a 3-run homer. That would have gave the Reds the lead at that point.
Game of inches.
Yeah, that's how badly the momentum could have switched at that point. But luckily it went foul, and the Pirates were able to hold on to win this game.
Yeah, and you talk about the momentum, and you talk about the offense absolutely stepping up to rally for 6 runs in the game, and Martin getting 2.
Yeah.
He sealed the deal at the end there, didn't he?
Yeah, and but before he hit his first home run, I was watching the game with my dad. I told him, Martin's been one of the worst offensive players the past couple of weeks for this team, and then he shows up and he has the most postseason experience.
Yeah.
On this team, so you knew he would have to step up in this series, even though it was one game, and he did.
Yeah, he did. Talk about, you mentioned before, Pedro Alvarez didn't have a hit.
Yeah, everyone else on the team had a hit, and it's pretty amazing if you think about it. And Kutch, even though he didn't get the long ball, which a lot of people would have expected to see from him, but he went 2 for 3. Walker went 2 for 5. Marte went 2 for 5. You like to see this production from this offense. You like to see it further on too when they play the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you mentioned McCutcheon not hitting the long ball there. They intentionally walked him in like the 5th inning.
Yeah,
that. I mean, you're used to seeing that at the end of a baseball game.
Yeah,
and that, I guess that's just what all playoff baseball's about. They were in full scramble mode.
Yeah, you have to be. It's one game playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so we're going to take this series into St. Louis with this. You mentioned the momentum in the offense, and I was watching ESPN before, and I believe they picked. I caught the tail end of their little discussion, and they They picked the Cardinals to win in 5. I think we're both going to go ahead and say that this series is going to go to 5 games.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Teams being so familiar with each other, playing each other 19 times in the regular season, I would be surprised if it went 3 or 4 games. I think 5 is definitely the length of the series.
Yeah, if it goes 3 or 4, I mean, if it turns out to be some kind of a shutout where it's 3 games, there's going to be a colossal meltdown on one end of the baseball diamond.
Right, and when you just said colossal meltdown,
yeah,
got me thinking back to the Penguins and the Bruins.
Oh boy, yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen with the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, colossal melt. Yeah, that was a colossal meltdown. Thanks for the reminder of that. So talk about the momentum that we have going in. I think ESPN was really getting on the Pirates or they were getting on the Cardinals with all their, they have basically the more playoff experience, and arguably, I don't know. Can you say they have a better team? How much of this momentum is really going to, help the Pirates perform in this series?
Well, I do think, I always come from the standpoint that playoff inexperience is a problem, but it wasn't a problem for the Pirates, obviously, in that game against Cincinnati. And I think it's going to actually, they're going to play loose because they don't have the pressure, that St. Louis does. St. Louis is favored pretty much by everyone to beat the Pirates.
That's true.
And I don't think anyone in this city would be disappointed if the Pirates lost.
Oh no, they've they go all the way in this postseason. It's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
We in the hearts of Pittsburgh fans, we won this.
Yeah.
We got the better end of this stick, so.
But I do want to mention, though, that, playoff inexperience, just so that people don't think that, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. In the American League wildcard game last night, Cleveland, it's the first time they made the playoffs in 6 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were going up against Tampa Bay, who seems like they make it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa Bay goes into Cleveland, shuts them out.
Yeah.
So I think experience does play into some stance there, but I just think the Pirates, you gotta want to play loose in the playoffs, because if you play with pressure, it can get to you and it can really hurt your chances. So that's a good thing for the Pirates, I think, going into the series.
Yeah, that's a good point. You mentioned before the Bruins series against the Penguins, and you compared it, and I was thinking we were mentioning playoff and experience. How much? So I pose the question now: how much playoff inexperience? How much does playoff inexperience make a difference in a baseball? In the baseball postseason rather than the hockey postseason? Because I'm willing to wager that hockey, I think it plays a bigger deal in hockey.
Yeah, I would say so. But I mean, both seasons they do go through a long time. 6 months for hockey, roughly 6 months for baseball.
Yeah.
So that's a tough question.
Yeah, but
I think hockey, though, it is.
It's a little bit more prevalent in hockey, I would think. It's not. It's obviously playoff. You have to be used to your surroundings.
Yeah.
And the Pirates are not used to the surroundings of a postseason of postseason baseball.
Right.
I don't think Pittsburgh fans are used to it. I think a guy. There's a video floating around, and I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times. A fan jumped into the river from the Roberto Clemente Bridge after the wild card win.
Now, I was pretty ecstatic too. I wouldn't do that because he probably got arrested.
Maybe not. I hear my friend was on the bridge. I hear that they were letting people do whatever the heck they wanted to.
Wow.
To be honest, and you'd think the Pirates would win the World Series.
Yeah.
He was comparing it with the Steelers winning the Super Bowl, and how the Pirates winning the wild card game was a bigger celebration on the Clemente Bridge than the Steelers winning the Super Bowl.
I could see that. If you're a diehard Pirate fan, obviously.
I could definitely see it. Absolutely. So this guy jumps into the water, and I don't know if this guy lost a bet or he just told his buddies, I'm going to jump in the bridge. I'm just going to jump in the river if the Pirates win this game. And hey, I'm glad he jumped in the river.
Yeah. But I did want to talk about. I was also watching SportsCenter yesterday.
Okay.
They did a centerpiece on the Pirates saying, "Is this a team of destiny?" And they were talking to different players.
That's so like ESPN.
Former players, from different sports teams that were on teams that ended up having destiny on their side almost.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that might be. I know I don't want to get into that whole debate like, does a team believing that they can do things actually can it happen? Like, if you believe that you will win this game, that you are meant to win, does that help you perform better on the field? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they are the team of destiny?
Here's what I think. I think that if they win the World Series, that this team will go down in history. And not in the strictest definition. Like, not in the sense that, they're going to keep the stats. This team, after a 22-year playoff drought, they go all the way to win the World Series. I think that's the stuff of that's the stuff of destiny. That's the stuff that you tell your grandkids. I was there after the Pirates hadn't won a season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is right now. I mean, we got to beat the Cards.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that they do have a chip on their shoulder. I was talking to a guy in Market Square today. I was doing an interview project for my broadcast writing class, and he definitely he described the run the Pirates are having right now as a Cinderella story, and I definitely think that coincides with what you were saying, the team of destiny. So definitely something to be looking forward to here as the Pirates take on the Cardinals. Who do you think is better at home?
Between the Pirates and the Cardinals?
Yeah.
I would have to go with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that, they recently came off the sweep of the Pirates in St. Louis. And I don't know.
Disappointing.
I just think that it's going back to the experience again, they were there last year.
Yeah.
And I know the Pirates have some veterans on their team, which will kind of, negate the inexperience with some of their other players. But it's vital for St. Louis to win these first two games at home, because if the Pirates go in there and split
and start tearing it up,
yeah, and then they come back here with that crowd, the 10th man.
Yeah,
I think Cardinals are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it's almost like the Penguins Detroit. We keep comparing this to hockey. It's almost like the Penguins Detroit series in 2009. And I remember me and my father were talking about it, and we said to each other, whoever wins on the road will win this series. The only one game, and it was the Penguins in Game 7 on the road, and they won the Stanley Cup. And AJ Burnett pitching.
Yeah.
So say the Cueto thing happens in St. Louis, and the crowd starts getting in his head. How does AJ Burnett handle that?
I don't see Burnett having any problem whatsoever.
I see him embracing it.
Yeah, because with Cueto, he's probably a shaky person off the field.
Why not?
He was going up against Liriano in that game, and they said that there were like 20,000 people in the Dominican Republic watching that game. Mm-hmm. So both those pitchers had more pressure on them, even more, and Cueto just choked.
And Liriano's as cool of a customer as there is.
Yeah, and with Burnett, with his fiery mentality, I wouldn't be surprised if he, after an inning or something, he starts, gesturing the crowd and stuff and making them angry.
He's gonna fire him up for sure. He's that kind of guy. And yet, you see him struggle with the Yankees. Do you think that he's gonna be the guy that the Pirates, hope? Is he gonna put the team on his back?
I think he will. I think he'll be the best pitcher on the road for this team. Liriano has the best numbers at PNC Park, but with Burnett, I know he's had his struggles in St. Louis, but I think he'll be the best pitcher on the road in this series.
It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a story, and it's gonna be great. I think we're gonna go to a commercial right now. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and their 0-4 troubles. We'll be right back.
Do you like indie and alternative music? Who am I kidding? Of course you do. Then I have exactly the show for you. Hi, I'm Nathan Canam, and I'm back for another semester of my show, Soundcheck. I play some of the best music around that you might not have heard before. So tune in Wednesdays from 6 to 7, and you might just find your new favorite band. Only here on 670 AM, WPPJ.
If you want to hear all your favorite alternative music in one place, and you want to know what concerts are happening in the Burgh, we can help you out.
If you want to hear from local bands and what they're working on, we can help you out.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Emily. and we are back for another exciting year of Pittsburgh Pulse.
Tune in every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. here on WPPJ 670 AM.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face-to-face with Smokey Bear.
Wow.
And he told me it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
And now it's time for your WPPJ Sports Update.
Hi, I'm Kyle Anthony. Here's your WPPJ Sports Update. The Point Park women's soccer team plays Tuesday, October 1st at Ursuline, and the Point Park men's soccer team also plays today, and their game is a home game at Highmark Stadium against Teal at 4:30. Pittsburgh Pirates have their first playoff game in 20 years tonight in a one-game playoff at PNC Park against the Cincinnati Reds. The winner of that game will go on to play the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm Kyle Anthony, and that was your WPPJ Sports Update.
When she calls you on your telephone, no need to be patient, and I'll hope to death and pray to God for my salvation. Love's an idea put into our heads by the earliest of age, and if we don't fight it, it won't fight back, and it'll never go away. I wanna hold back, but I wanna let go. I wanna hold back, but I wanna let go. And he says, save me, baby, I'm so alone, and I will come back when I wanna come home, home, and save me, baby, I'm so alone, and I will come back when I wanna come home, home. In the darkness of the light, it is so very clear, and by the end of the night, you're saying things I cannot hear. And it's probably not to track the time, but I'm watching the clock like the dice in my mind. The crystalline corners of your soul, yeah, they mirror mine. I thought you should know, and it's such a shame mine is dark and cold. I thought you should know, I thought you should know. I wanna hold back, but I wanna let go. I wanna hold back, but I wanna let go. Save me, baby, I'm so alone, and I will come back when I wanna come home, home, and save me, baby, I'm so alone, and I will come back when I wanna come home, 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 said I, home, 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 said I, home, home.
And we're back on Sports Buzz, and don't want to jump the gun just yet to talk about the Steelers because that's going to be the downer part of this show. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the Pirates. Something I noticed in the game Tuesday night, I noticed that on Francisco Liriano's hat, he had a black star with the Pirate P logo on it, and I was wondering, what is that? Well, I just found out that they are bringing back, I don't know if you remember this, Harrison, the Stargell Stars that the 1979 team did when they were through that season.
See, that's the kind of stuff that makes you love sports.
Yeah, I mean, so the unity, I mean, that's something you want to have.
Yeah, it's unreal.
And also, I was taking a look at the NLDS roster, which was revealed today. And remember last week I said about Travis Snyder, if he's going to make the roster because of the pinch hits, the big home runs he had. And what do you know? He made the team. He made the roster.
Well, there you go.
So that'll be something to look forward to, pinch hitting situations, see if they'll go to him first. But you take a look at this St. Louis team. They led the season with hitting and with runners in scoring position at a .330 average. That is insane. I think the next closest team was about .270.
Wow.
So my question that I will pose to you, Harrison, is do you think that the Cardinals, I mean, I know it's going to be only a 5-game series possibly, but do you think they will be able to hit .430 with runners in scoring position or even better? Because they know how to bunch their singles together in an inning.
I mean, the Pirates pitching, and like I said, I was watching like the tail end of the Sports Center analysis, and you can take that with a grain of salt most of the time.
Right.
But I do think that the Pirates pitching staff is going to give the Cardinals a run for their money, absolutely. And do I know who's going to win this series? I don't. It's too close. I think the Pirates won against this season against the Cardinals. They won 10 out of 9, or their record is 10-9.
Yeah,
against the Cardinals. That's as 500 as you could possibly get. I know Dave Fabili was saying that his buddy is in Vegas, and it's 50-50.
Yeah,
it's going to be a very, very close matchup. And do I know? Like I said, do I know who's going to win? I don't. Do I think it's going to go to five games, perhaps even extra innings?
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that it's going to be a really, really close one. I got my gleam in the eye for the Pirates.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the key, though, will the starting pitchers be able to keep their lineup in check. And I'm not saying you got to keep everyone, from hitting, like Matt Carpenter, Matt Holliday, Carlos Beltran, or Yadier Molina. All 4 of those players probably won't be in cold slumps. So as long as you can keep 2 of them at bay, I think the Pirates will have a real good chance of winning the series, and can't believe I'm saying it, moving on to the National League Championship Series. So that'll be something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Keep an eye out for those pitchers as they try and take on the offense of the Cardinals. And we are going to move on now to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are, should we even talk about it? 0-4.
First time since 1968.
Yeah, that's you talk about big deficits and long droughts for things. That's a long time since we've been that bad. But so what did it for the Vikings in London? I think that our defense looked like an absolute pasta strainer.
Yeah, it was abysmal. They let up big play after big play. Peterson had a 60-yard touchdown run. Greg Jennings, who is not in the prime of his career, he is a little bit older and not as fast.
He's still an incredible football player.
He is, but he caught, I think, a 10-yard screen pass, and he blew by the Steelers secondary for a 70-yard touchdown. That is just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Especially with the Dick LeBeau defense. It was just, I was blown away by how poorly they performed.
Yeah, not only that, but the offensive line not covering Ben Roethlisberger as well as we might want them to. There were several sacks in that game.
Yep, once again.
Ben just kind of, when Ben falls, he falls like a building.
Yeah.
Like, he is a big guy, and he crashes down, and it's very demoralizing, and you can see it in Big Ben's eyes. I think they had a chance to tie it.
Yeah, at the very end.
At the very end, with 8 seconds left, and what happens?
Of course, a sack and a fumble.
And a fumble. So we were discussing last week the look in Ben Roethlisberger's eyes. I mean, how does Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers come back after 0-4 and have a bye week to think about it?
Well, I'm not going to write him off just yet. I think making the playoffs, though, no.
Yeah, don't count on it.
But to turn their season around, they could possibly still go 9-7, even though I know if listeners out there are probably saying, "You're a moron, what are you talking about?" But
come on, Mike, you know a little bit more than you're giving yourself credit for.
Just because the Steelers have been, so bad in these first 4 games, if they didn't have a bye week coming up, I think they would be in trouble. But since they have that extra week, Tomlin just has to, I don't know, he has to whip this team into shape somehow.
So you're thinking that this bye week is going to be a positive thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you're coming the next week after, you're not going to play a really tough team. You're going to play the Jets. They have a rookie quarterback in Geno Smith.
Right.
But they played against the Vikings with Matt Castle, a backup. and they torched the Steelers defense. So I don't know. I just hope that they can get this fixed because it's really depressing.
Yeah, I mean, like the clutch Pittsburgh Steelers on third, I think it was third down with 8 seconds left, fumble the football. And a Steelers team 2 years ago would have tied that game.
Yeah. And
made it exciting.
I don't know, Ben just lost his magic.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned, I have the press release right here. This did happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers have traded for the Arizona Cardinals for the veteran offensive tackle Levi Brown. That was announced today, and they have traded for him, and they've given the Cardinals a conditional draft pick in return. And this guy's been in the league now for 7 years. He signed through 2016. Started all 4 games this year for the Cardinals at left tackle. He started 79 career games since being drafted 5th overall in the 2007 NFL Draft out of Penn State. Brown missed all of the 2012 season with a torn bicep, but had started every game for 4 consecutive seasons prior to that injury. What do we think about this move the Steelers have made?
Well, I remember we were talking about, the Steelers, they have to do something differently. Besides the Steeler way, they have to go out and get free agents. They have to make trades, and they did this. But I will say that yes, when I saw they traded for Levi Brown, I was like, oh, okay, I remember him. He was drafted pretty high. I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference.
I mean, he's getting kind of old too.
Yeah, and Pro Football Focus, which ranks all the offensive linemen in the league, they had Mike Adams, who he will be replacing, ranked number 69, and Levi Brown is only ranked number 60. So, you're replacing horrible with bad.
Oh man.
So
what you're saying is that wasn't the right move.
I don't know who else you could have got though.
Okay.
I mean, they had to do something.
Right.
I know Max Starks, who has been with the Steelers for a long time. He was cut by the Rams recently.
Right.
They could have went to get him because they brought him back last year, but I guess they're just going to take a gamble with Levi Brown because he was good early on in his career. I mean, he was an anchor for the Cardinals when they went to Super Bowl 43 and played against the Steelers.
Yeah.
So I guess they're hoping that he can somehow, just perform better.
Right. And what we were mentioning before, Marquise Pouncey has been out and will remain out for, I think, another 2-3 weeks, something like that.
Oh, no, he's out for the season.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Well, how much of a...
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, whoa, what?
How much of an impact is the lack of Marquise Pouncey, or what I should be asking is Marquise Pouncey at center for the last 4 games, are we winning these games?
No. I think they're still 0-4.
Really?
Because Velasco, I've seen positive things from him in the games that he's played in. And if you see when Ben is being attacked by the defensive lineman, it's coming from the left or the right side. It's not coming right down the middle.
Right.
So I think Velasco is doing his job of protecting, that one nose tackle. It's just the outside, with DeCastro, Adams, and then Gilbert. They just can't. I don't know. The line is in shambles.
It's bad. It's bad. It's absolutely bad. So you hear that? It's not Marquise Pouncey, people. The fact that Marquise Pouncey is out should not be what we're blaming this on. Should we be blaming this on Big Ben at all? How's he playing? Has he lost the magic? As ESPN quotes it as, and we've been ripping on ESPN all day today, but they've been calling it the end of the Roethlisberger era. Is that just them being dramatic, or is this a reality for the black and gold?
I don't think it's a reality because they just need to get better players around him.
Right. So you think he's playing well?
Yes, except for with the turnovers. I mean, that's got to stop, but he's holding on to the ball constantly because the line is stinking so bad. They're letting the defenders go right through, and he doesn't want to get rid of it real quick or else he's going to throw an interception. That's just the way it's been going for him. So, and if they get to him, he's either going to get sacked or he's going to fumble the ball.
Right.
So I think you got to fix the line first, then Ben will be able to play like he used to play.
And Ben, he likes to run around a lot as well. Do you foresee him needing to change his game maybe to compensate for this lack of an offensive line?
Yes, but I don't know if he can. Because he's been accustomed to playing this way for over a decade now.
Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger plays the way Ben Roethlisberger plays.
Yeah.
And he's basically the captain of your franchise.
Right.
it's not the quarterback who has to compensate for the line. It's the line that needs to compensate for the quarterback.
Exactly.
So that is something that the Pittsburgh offensive line needs to take into consideration going forward. We mentioned Le'Veon Bell. Did we want to talk about him?
Yeah, his first game of the year, and I was impressed with him.
Nice.
57 yards rushing, a couple of touchdowns. He had some nice juke moves that you don't see from the other running backs. And I'm not saying he's the second coming of Jerome Bettis by any means, but with what they have, Felix Jones, Isaac Redman, who wasn't even activated for this game, Jonathan Dwyer, Bell is your best option.
Yeah.
And he definitely showed some spurts there of what he can bring to this team with the running game. I think the problem, though, was that the Steelers were down early, that they couldn't really run the ball consistently because they had to go through the air with the attack. So hopefully, in this next game against the Jets in a couple weeks, they can actually build maybe a 10-point lead, and then they can continuously run Bell to see if he can get his first 100-yard game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that during that game in London, you saw glimmers of the Pittsburgh Steelers, trying to come back, and we almost thought it was going to happen. So, with that being said, do we think that the Steelers at least have it in them? I mean, we see the gleam in the eye. We see the plays attempting to be made. It's obviously in no way bad luck, but are they capable mentally and emotionally for a comeback?
You talking about in the season?
Yeah, in the season, for at least winning a couple of games here.
Oh well, yeah, I definitely think they'll win a couple games. It's just a matter if will the defense and the offense both play to their potential and capability in the same game.
And I keep trying to look at positives here. I think that was the most touchdowns we had scored in a game against the Vikings this season.
Yes.
So I mean that
yeah, that is a positive.
That's a positive.
I mean, the offense, they did have their moments where they fell apart, but they were definitely more brighter than the defense because the defense in that game, the missed tackles.
Yeah.
That was horrible. Yeah. On the Peterson run, Woodley missing a tackle, Timmons missing a tackle.
And these are guys that usually make it.
Yeah, and then with Cortez Allen, who he was coming off an injury, and he's starting alongside Ike Taylor on the secondary. He got targeted every time, and he just fell apart. I mean, I don't know. He has to work on tackling. He has to work on covering. He was a strong part of that defense last year toward the end of the season, forcing all those turnovers. But so far this year, I mean, I know it's only just the one game, but he is not looking anything like the player that the Steelers expected him to be.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. So
that begs into question that, Dick LeBeau, not a lot of people have, criticized him. It's always Todd Haley, Ben, or Mike Tomlin.
That's a good point.
So maybe Dick LeBeau, his schemes always used to confuse quarterbacks.
Right.
Through the first 4 games, you haven't seen any quarterback confused whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So that begs the question, will he be with the team next year as the coordinator? So,
yeah.
I mean, I know he's getting up there in age, but they have to figure out something for the defense to force turnovers. They still haven't forced a turnover.
It's showing. It's showing. The what you just said is we're seeing it.
Yeah.
In the losses.
And they're not getting any pressure on the quarterbacks. They're not getting sacks. They're not. I don't know. But I will say there were some local analysts here that said Troy Polamalu didn't have that strong of a game.
Yeah, I was going to mention him. I don't know if he did.
Yeah, I think he looked great. I think he's looking like his young self again.
Okay, that's good.
And he's all over the place. So I just think it's a matter of time. He can't, run around, jump over the line of scrimmage right when he got timing it perfectly. But once the defense can force some turnovers, then he'll be able to do that more freely. So I think he's the lone bright spot on this defense so far.
That's good, and that Troy Polamalu, he's gonna come up in the clutch for your team.
Yeah,
he will. There's no doubt about it. All right, we're gonna go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk the Pittsburgh Penguins and their season opener tonight, and we're gonna see about that in just a moment.
Check out sports bikes, classic bikes, unicycles, and even Pee Wee Herman's bike, plus hands-on activities about what makes bicycles go. It's all at Bikes, Science on Two Wheels, at Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh. See over 60 bikes of every shape and size. And on Saturdays, there's special programming like BMX shows, unicycle demonstrations, and bike building. Bikes, Science on Two Wheels, presented by Dollar Bank. Visit CarnegieScienceCenter.com for more details.
Every Friday night, 8 to 9 on WPPJ, we got John Zabelli with Dead Pixels.
Hello. What are you up to on Tuesday 4 to 5? Red Radio. It's pretty awesome.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Spencer.
Tune in to hear indie and alternative hits and awesome comedic skits.
Hey, Point Park students, have you ever thought to yourself, I eat here at the cafe in RDF so much that I should be rewarded for it? If so, Point Park Dining Services has you covered. All you have to do is like Point Park Dining Services on Facebook, check into the cafe or RDF, and state your favorite menu items. Then, you'll be automatically entered into a weekly drawing for prizes such as Bison Bucks, dining passes, and more. This is your chance to be rewarded for your appetite and your opinion.
Check out sports bikes, classic bikes, unicycles, and even Pee Wee Herman's bike, plus hands-on activities about what makes bicycles go. It's all at Bikes, Science on Two Wheels at Carnegie Science Center in Pittsburgh. See over 60 bikes of every shape and size. And on Saturdays, there's special programming like BMX shows, unicycle demonstrations, and bike building. Bikes, Science on Two Wheels, presented by Dollar Bank. Visit CarnegieScienceCenter.com for more details.
It's now time for your WPPJ Music Update.
This is Kylie, your WPPJ Music Director, here with the September 2013 edition of WPPJ Concert Calendar. This month's shows include September 7th, De La Soul at Stage AE, September 8th, Muse at Consol Energy Center, September 11th, Mayor Hawthorne at Altar Bar, September 12th and 13th, Gaslight Anthem at Mr. Smalls, also September 13th, Rancid at Stage AE, September 14th, Joy Ike at the Hard Rock Cafe, September 19th, Saves the Day at Altar Bar. September 20th, the Coors Light Silver Bullet Bash featuring Young the Giant at Stage AE. Stay tuned for the latest information on concerts in Pittsburgh, and if you'd like to advertise your band's next show, be sure to contact 670 AM WPPJ Radio.
Hello, Point Park University. Do you like to listen to pop and rock from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s?
Inside a hood, confess your love to the concrete now. All the bitter heart set to explode. Our ringing ears never hear a sound. Our drum map completely composed. Basement bars and bottles of booze. Our life will surely sing the intermission. Tired eyes, blood and soul. Cut 'em down in cold calculation. All the right and cry. Caskets full of dead friendships, you know. Let your head rattle right up the coast. Scatter the sea till the day you drown. Let it all spill out onto the floor. Swept away when the waves crash down. Someday I'll make it back to the shore. I laugh at the awkward looks and what's more. We've got these stories inked in the skin forevermore. Tired eyes, body and soul. Cut 'em down in cold calculation. All the right cries in caskets full of dead friendships, you know.
And welcome back. This is Sports Buzz. I'm Michael Kravetz.
And I'm Harry Buzz.
And just like every week, like I said, I will be going through the primetime performers of the week 4 in the NFL.
Primetime performers.
And here's the top 5. Coming in at number 5, Patrick Peterson of the Arizona Cardinals. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13-10, and he had a big hand in this. 2 tackles and 2 interceptions off of rookie quarterback Mike Glennon. And number 4, Tony Gonzalez. He's been around forever with the Atlanta Falcons. They do lose the game 30-23, though, to the Patriots, but he had a huge game, 12 receptions, 149 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Coming in at number 3, Phillip Rivers, San Diego Chargers quarterback. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 30-21. He had a huge game, 35 of 42, 401 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. Coming in at number 2, Reggie Bush. The Detroit Lions made a huge trade for him. 18 carries, 139 yards, a touchdown, and then adding 4 catches for 34 yards as they get a huge win over the Chicago Bears, 40-32. And then number 1, I think you're going to be seeing this player on our list pretty much every week, Peyton Manning, quarterback of the Denver Broncos. They throttle the Philadelphia Eagles 52-20.
Holy cow.
28 of 34, 327 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's now 16 touchdowns through 4 games. That is a record. So I'm pretty sure, he'll be a mainstay on that list.
I think we're going to see Peyton Manning's best football.
Yeah.
I before I was just speculating, I think we're seeing it.
Yeah. But tonight, the Penguins open off the season against the New Jersey Devils here at Consol Energy Center.
Yes, they do. And I am thrilled. And I didn't get tickets today, but that's okay. We'll get them next time.
It's that student rush.
Yeah, student rush. They changed their system on me, but I'm on to them, so we'll get them next time. But they implemented the hybrid icing rule. That is a fact, and it is in place in the National Hockey League. So look for that. It's a bit of a rule change.
It's all about player safety.
Yeah, all about player safety. It will be interesting to see how many defensemen keep their teeth.
Yeah.
This year, so that's good for the league. The Penguins have a bit of a goalie problem, don't they?
Yes, they do. And no, it's not Marc-Andre Fleury.
No, it's Vaucoon. He's out for 3 to 6 months. Not months.
Yeah, 3 to 6
months with a recovering from a blood clot that he got removed. And what are the if you ask me what the Penguins are going to do? I mean, you have Jeff Zatkoff coming up from Wilkes-Barre. He's not played an NHL game yet. Do the Penguins need to get a goalie?
I don't think they do.
Really?
I think Zatkoff, even though he's inexperienced, I think he won't be as good as Vaucoon, but I think he will be a reliable backup.
Sure.
I don't see him, if Vaucoon misses the entire season, which I'm expecting him to miss the whole season, I think Zatkoff would not be playing as many games as they plan for Vaucoon. But, if Zatkoff can at least, I would say, play 20 games and perform somewhat well, then I think the Penguins will be just fine. Because Shiro said they don't plan on getting any goalies through free agency or even at the trade deadline unless they're in trouble if Zatkoff performs poorly. So,
and if they are in trouble, a couple of candidates that come to mind are Tim Thomas.
Yeah, he's actually starting for the Florida Panthers.
They got him.
Yeah,
they picked him up.
So, but if he performs,
then Tim Thomas is starting for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
I don't know how Jacob Markstrom feels about that. He probably expected to get the start tonight, or they're playing tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. Rick DiPietro is also on the list of potential goaltenders the Penguins could pick up. Ilya Brizgalov.
That would be interesting.
That would be very interesting. I personally wouldn't like that.
Why not?
Think he's kind of a psycho.
Yeah, I could see that.
The whole universe is so humongous big. If we remember that from the 24/7 Flyers Rangers HBO miniseries. So the Penguins have a bit of a goalie, a goalie interest in the next couple of months here in the season. Matt Niskanen. We talked a little bit about him being a little bit of a dead weight on the team. Do you think he's dead weight?
I do think he is.
Really? Explain yourself.
Well, I know they sent Simone Dupre down to the AHL for salary cap reasons.
An interesting move, yeah.
But I think once he comes back up, and then if Oli Mata, who might start tonight because of Letang being out for a week, if Mata performs pretty well and Niskanen is just not getting it done because offensively wise,
right,
I think that he could be traded.
That would be. I think that would be a good move for the Penguins. Do I think that Matt Niskanen necessarily is dead weight on the team? I'm going to go ahead and disagree. Even though I may have said prior that I think he's dead weight, I kind of changed my mind. I'm going back to the notion that a good defenseman doesn't necessarily always get noticed on the ice.
Right.
And he, we may not notice him, but maybe that means he's doing his job as a defenseman. Is he a shutdown defenseman like Hal Gill or perhaps Robert Bortuzzo might be?
No.
I know we made the comparison that Hal Gill and Bortuzzo are kind of similar there. No, I don't think that he's a shutdown defenseman. Does he do his job? Sure.
Yeah, but I think the reason why I say dead weight, I don't mean it. I'm not disrespecting him at all. I do think
Right.
he is a good player, but they just have too many good defensemen right now. And right now, with Dupré being sent down, he is supposed to be the number 2 defenseman with offense.
Right.
And I didn't see too much offense from him last year.
Okay.
So I know he's going to be on the power play probably tonight. And I know probably me saying this, he's probably going to end up scoring a hat trick because me calling him dead weight. So, but I don't know. I just, unless he performs above what he can do, I don't see him being with the team in the second half of this season.
Well, we know that players like to stay on this team, and maybe Matt Niskanen is going to really grind it out and play better than he is this season. Before we go on, we may as well talk about the lines. Who's starting tonight?
Well, according to the game day, the morning skate, line 1, it's going to remain the same.
Kunitz, Crosby, Dupuis, of course.
Right. James Neal, game time decision. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
And of course, with the vague upper body injury, don't want to get me started on that.
Yeah.
Just say the injury.
Yeah. What's he got? I guess that's for secretive. That's why baseball players walk up to the mound and cover their.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Too.
Don't read my lips because everyone knows how to do that.
Yeah, but they had Joe Vitale skating with Malkin and Jokinen on line 2. I was a little caught off guard by that.
Yeah, I was too. I figured they'd put Bennett up on there.
Yeah, so because I thought Vitale would be centering the 4th line.
Right.
But the 3rd line is Bennett, Sutter, and Kobasu.
Okay.
And then the 4th line, Glass, Jeffrey, and Adams.
The Penguins just signed Chuck Kobasu.
Yes, they did.
How do we feel about that? I feel great.
Yeah, I thought he looked really good in the preseason.
Yeah, he did. I think he had 2 goals?
Yeah.
2 goals in the preseason? Yeah, very, very good. Very good indeed.
I will say, though, that I'm glad that Jeffrey is going to be playing because he's been in my household. Let's just say that we've been pulling for him because I thought he had a lot of potential when he came up, and he's been with this team for like 2 or 3 years now, where he really hasn't found a starting spot that he's like kept through the whole year. So hopefully he can be a fixture on that 4th line.
It's interesting that you said that you thought he had potential because I kind of looked at him and didn't think much of him, and he, that's kind of how he's turning out.
Yeah,
I want him to become a better hockey player for the Penguins. So we'll have to see what happens with that one.
I kind of see him how they thought of Eric Tangredi.
Yeah, Eric Tangredi had a big night the other night in Winnipeg.
Oh, really?
That was a crazy game. That was a shootout of a game. Winnipeg and Edmonton. I mean, I don't know if that was just the first game of the season jitters or they were all just pumped up in Edmonton, but that was a heck of a game. If you get a chance, look at the goals and the highlights for that one. There's a lot of pushing and shoving. You'd think it was the first round of the playoffs. They were fired up over there, as were they in Philadelphia and Toronto. Toronto 2-0.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, the Flyers. Let's be honest. I mean, they steamrolled over the Flyers, which we kind of knew was going to happen. Colorado destroyed Anaheim the other night, 6-0.
Wow.
Not only that, but their draft pick had 2 assists, and they were beauts. They were beautiful assists. So if you get a chance, check out those highlights as well. But back to the Penguins a little bit. So Jussi Jokinen had an unreal preseason. He scored a hat trick in the game I went to. That was pretty awesome. And you said he was starting on the second line?
Yeah.
Could the hat trick be why he's starting on the second line?
I think that they probably they trust him more, I think, with playing alongside Malkin than Bo Bennett.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I think Jokinen, though, he's going to be versatile. He's going to give you versatility. They had him working on the top power play unit.
He's one of the most versatile skaters in the league.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He's a great guy to have on your roster.
And I know he didn't really get a chance to show his skills late last year.
I didn't think he did either.
He was definitely overshadowed by Iginla and Brendan Morrow. So
yeah, well, it's tough not to be. I mean, that was the dream team.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, playing for the Boston Bruins. A lot of talk about the Boston Bruins. Andrew Ferentz is now the captain of the Edmonton Oilers, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think that we should probably move on to our little predictions that I held off on last week.
Yeah.
Because I was a little fleet-footed at the idea of predicting the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
It's tough to predict that in the East, I think. I think it's much more clear-cut in the West. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, let me hear your top three for each conference.
All right. Well, we mentioned. All right, my top three. In the West, I have the Sharks. I think they're going to be their year. They got a great team, and I think that they're going to kiss their postseason woes goodbye. And I think they may make it to the Stanley Cup this year. St. Louis was the other one. I agreed with you on that one. That's kind of my wild card. St. Louis, they played well. They have a great team. They have a great rookie, and TJ Oshie, he's a great hockey player.
Yeah.
And they also have excellent goaltending. Yaroslav Halak is still on that team.
Yeah, he'll have a big year this year.
Absolutely. And I kind of feel remiss in saying this, but the Blackhawks, of course, I mean, they have the potential to repeat, and they have a very good chance of doing so. Their team is very, very good, and they're definitely a weapon out there in the West.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I agree with you in the West, and real quickly for the East, I got the Penguins, I have the Red Wings, and I think the third spot, it could be a toss-up between the Capitals.
Really?
I think maybe the Islanders.
Yeah.
The Bruins or even the Maple Leafs.
Well, I was going to comment on the Bruins. I think they lost too many people.
True.
I think that the Leafs have a better chance. The Leafs gave Mikhail Grabovski to the Capitals.
Yeah, that's right.
Mikhail Grabovski right now is leading the league in goals.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He has 3 goals.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's playing very well. I think he's going to fit in well in Washington. And because, his tenure in Toronto kind of, got stale at the end there. But in all and conversely, Mike Ribeiro, who I think had a good year in Washington, I actually had him on my fantasy team. Mike Ribeiro is now playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's showing some prowess. The Leafs are 2-0.
Yeah.
So I agree with you with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they have a very good shot of being competitive deep in the playoffs this year, as well as the New York Islanders. I think they have a chance to go maybe second, third round, potentially. The Penguins, they're always going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Detroit, I have a little bit of an issue with Detroit. It's going to be a very interesting season for the Detroit Red Wings. New conference.
Yep.
New destinations. Traveling times are different.
Right. Daniel Alfredsson
is now the ex-captain of the Ottawa Senators, and probably one of the longest tenured Senator, is now on the Detroit Red Wings, and he is old.
Yeah, yes he is.
And the Wings, they like their old hockey players. But they're going to have an interesting season. I think Detroit has the potential to go deep in the playoffs as well. And keep an eye out for some wild cards out there. But the Penguins play tonight.
Yeah, and of course the Pirates.
And the Pirates play tonight. And who do we think is going to win the hockey game?
Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, hands down.
In a blowout.
I think they're going to kill them, honestly. I think Corey Schneider